Companies are looking for engineers who can build AI apps that don't just pull data from the internet, but actually understand and use their own business data. And if you can do that, you're looking at roles like AI engineer or cloud architect with salaries between $150,000 and $200,000 a year. But here's the thing, RAG or Retrieval Augmented Generation sounds more complicated than it really is. It's just a smart way to make your AI smarter by feeding it your own data. And in this video, we are going to cut through the noise. We will walk you through a hands-on lab where you will build a real knowledge base using AWS Bedrock. You will see exactly how to take data from an S3 bucket, chop it into chunks, create embeddings, and store it in a vector database so your AI gives accurate, fact-based answers. No fluff, just the actual steps you need to build this yourself. Also, this video is part of our AI/ML Track Job Oriented program where professionals have successfully landed high-paying positions with top certifications. And if you're someone struggling to land that dream job, we have a completely free masterclass where our experts will discuss a proven 3-step framework and a comprehensive roadmap that has helped many of our learners like Shrija, Mark, Devashish, Steve, and many others land high-paying jobs and top certifications. So check it out. The link is there in the description as well as in the pinned comments. And also, we run weekly free masterclass with our experts. So now, without further ado, let's jump into the video.
So coming back, this is RAG in actions. We're not going to do anything but for what happens, just for people who are very curious. You will have data source. It goes to the chunks. You create an embedding model, and finally there is a vector store. So what happens when the user is asking, it will come back to the embedding models. Okay, it will check the embedding. It will do a semantic search, go back to the vector store and retrieve the information for you in whatever is required. So this is how this RAG will typically work for you when you look at it from a theoretical perspective. So, and what we'll also see that you can actually augment the prompt to the large language model and there is a response. It means as you get to understand RAG, because let me tell you, RAG's agents are pretty easier to understand, is more of an orchestra. This concept is a engineering technique. So it is basically meant for you to really look at, like when you're giving a prompt, it should add context from the additional information which you have provided, which is a vector store, while it's giving you a response. You're right, Mohammed. What you're told is absolutely right. So this is the one more view of the entire RAG in actions. Just go through this. So multiple ways to look at this particular topic. One more. This is some of the drawbacks which is there. We'll just ignore it. What is important is if you have to do that in Bedrock, you will use knowledge base. That's what we have been using now for this lab. Knowledge base allows you to implement RAG, and whatever you saw up to this is common in any of your any class. So wherever you go, you will find the similar kind of concepts being discussed, and finally you will go and implement something. In the case of AWS, it is complete. Okay. So I can give an account ID. Now the account ID, if you don't know what it is, I'll just show it to you. And here I'm trying to create a thing and sign in. Okay. So what happens is now I am logging into the same system. Now this is the account ID. You can see that every account you create with AWS, whether it's a $200 credit account or whatever account, will have an account ID. So you can copy this in case it's asking you along with the username. So how to create username, password, a step-by-step lab. It's an IAM lab. Hope all of you must know S3 bucket IAM before you come for this course. So in case you're not aware, no worries. There is also a documentation of creating a user, adding relevant rights. Then you must log in. Only if you log in into the system, you will be able to access this particular feature that you can go and create a knowledge base, right? So once you come here, you will see that when you go to S3 bucket, okay, you will find that the document is available in the S3 bucket because it's part of the same region, etc. So you will, if you go and see this what I created here, this is available here. So I don't have to bother to create that again. The only thing which I will proceed is to go back to the S3, go back to the machine learning, open up Bedrock, and proceed with the steps what I did already quickly so that we don't waste time. I just go back to the same knowledge management. Okay, let me close this, not required. Build knowledge base. Okay, now when I tell build knowledge base, you will create, you will ignore structured data store, you will ignore Kendra GenAI, you'll just focus on knowledge base. Learn this first properly, then you can learn the rest of the things. I'm not going to just do puppeting from the lab, but I'm just going to give you the script completion here. You have the S3 bucket. I'll just click hello world. In your lab, maybe it'll tell you structured typing and all. I can ignore all those things to save time. You'll always create and use a new service role. Now you might have a doubt, what are the other options available? All these options you can try, but not now. Okay. So whichever is in preview, please don't try them, because I'm also doing some testing on this products lines, etc. That goes through so many changes. It'll be total waste of time. So just focus on S3 in case you wanted to really select a web crawler or a custom or a Confluence. You can go ahead and do that. Okay, yourself for your self learning. For this lab, for this particular course, you just focus on S3 bucket. You learn the concept of RAG and then you start experimenting and exploding it to a different level. Coming down here, you will see that you will find an option here. You can skip all these things. Now you're given a data source name. Now here I have to do this step because once more that I go here, I select the book.text, choose this. This is the text which I wrote. Now this part, okay. If I tell you that if you want to really learn, does an interviewer ask this? Sometimes that no, he might be mischievous to ask you what happens when it is reading an S3 document and putting it into a RAG. Okay, actually indirectly they're asking what is chunking, what is parsing. Now, 9 out of 10 people may not know this really well, and just for the time, you will not find a lot of things, but a lot of documentations available on these topics. It's not that you will not find documentation, but if you find time, you want to prioritize a knowledge base, what to learn additionally, you should learn what are other way to create RAG apart from creating through vector. Second, you understand parsing and chunking a little bit at a high level. By default, you will only use the default parser and default. And even if you read this sentence, you might relational database, Rolando is done by option called the third option, structured database. Every time you create a knowledge base, you're given three options, right? Option one is this vector store, option two is this, and option three is your default. So when you click this, if you come here, you will see that you can also go to the advanced option if you want. You can play around with this transformation function, right? So while it's transforming, if you want to write a lambda to really do some things, you can do it. Okay, you can just click advanced settings to do encryption. So why am I showing you all this? When you do the lab first time, you just be blind. Just follow what is written in the PDF or the video. Second time, don't leave it like that. You just change the chunking strategy and see what happens. Okay, nothing is going to do anything bad to your system, but you will try to understand a little bit about the topic. You can just go here and tell what are the different chunking strategies in AWS. Okay, so you will find the documentation is available on this in detail. Okay, how content chunking works for knowledge base. So you can just throw this document, I can just put it here. You can learn about different chunking strategies through this documentation. And what is the Amazon parsing strategy? That also you can learn. Like that, you can keep continuing your learning journey. And once you click next, now it'll asking a embedding model. Now, for people who are very new, maybe wondering what is this embedding model, etc. It goes back to our theory class number 1. We looked at week 1, not week 2 also, right? Where anything which is stored from a documentation, etc., into an input to the foundation model, okay, you have to convert the data into an embedding, which can be understood by the system, right? So how do you create those embedding model? You've been given some choice. But for now, you take it as a rule just to save time. Nothing that no, you cannot understand when to use cohere, etc. Generally use this text embedding version 2 now as the embedding model. Understand what is happening first and in a complete life cycle. Okay, now if you go to this additional configuration, you'll see a lot more information here, like vector dimensions, embedding types. All these are learning parameters for you. So don't underestimate that the subject covered within these weeks is an end to the subject, right? It is good enough knowledge for you to move fast into a job, get into something, but there is always a depth associated with these topics which needs some time. So you just have to understand. That's why when I'm doing the demo, I'm showing you sections of places which if I get there, I'll just end my 9, 10:30 or 11 only at this point. Okay, so I'm just telling you like you can read them at this point, ignore them for a point, but you can learn about that. And then you create a vector store. Okay, now in this case, whichever is preview, you will ignore. These are options. You will select OpenSearch Serverless, which is to store different vectors. That's a default parameter. And then you click next. So you can read that it's a knowledge base, okay, execution rule, S3 bucket, okay, and then it gives you a lot of these information, and then you can create knowledge base. If there is nothing going wrong in the system, it will take you 5 to 10 minutes before you have a knowledge base ready to be consumed, right? So the feel which you should get is not a full understanding. Even nobody on the earth could have got what exactly happened. So you can see that OpenSearch serverless lab vector database ready. With this, we will stop and we'll continue the section tomorrow. What happens here is we have reached the final step. Now you can see that there is a knowledge base available. Okay, and you can select the data source and you will sync it up so that the data which is there, which is available, should be synced with the data source what is available. So you say it'll take some time for syncing up with the thing. Once it is synced, you have the data available on the knowledge base. It is connected with the S3 bucket with the foundation models so that every time you are going to ask a question, so it'll again take to create a knowledge base, it might take 5-10 minutes. To syncing up, it might take 2-3 minutes, and then you must be good to go. Okay. So let's wait for a minute. Maybe it should sync it up because we're going to end up here. Normally it takes 2-3 minutes according to me. It should tell available. The knowledge base is available. So what do you do after the knowledge base is available? It does not, it takes some time. The reason why we are doing the sync deliberate is basically whenever you want to query a knowledge base, you must sync it up with your stuff so that you will be able to get that synced up immediately. Okay. Otherwise, it will take some time for you to get these two linked. Asma, I'm coming to you so that we close it. So once you see that you have created the S3 bucket, you have created the knowledge base, you linked it up, you synced it up, the same steps in your thing, then you can go and test the knowledge base. So if you go back to the knowledge base, okay, you have options now to select the knowledge base which you created. And once this knowledge base is available, okay, you will be able to test this knowledge base. So this is the way you will know whether things are working, right? So because you can see that there is retrieval and response generation which has been provided. You can select test and tell you leave all this to default, but now you have to select which model you're going to try. For example, you can select any of the model. For example, if I select an Anthropic model and tell I want to pick up the Claude 3 Sonnet or whatever model you want to test this, right? And you can just then type some questions which is relevant. For example, which steps will pick up something which is it should work for this particular scenario because we have uploaded a text which is relevant to deciding to become self-employed. Okay, we're just giving which step should I follow before deciding to become self-employed, because there is some content from it which can come from foundation model, some content which can really be relevant from the text, right? So that is what we're going to test from its output. So if I just type enter, you will see that it is going to release a lot of documentation chunks for you, right? So basically, it is going to really bring a lot of information's answer to you as an answer. And what you will be doing here is to just test this is like there is one chunk which is available. You can go to the details and it will tell you what are the places where it referred, okay, before it got the answers. What are the source chunk from where it took the informations, different places. So you can see there are different source chunk it has picked it up before answering it. So certain source chunks are directly from the foundation models. Certain data is coming from the metadata associated with it. So this proves the point that the content, okay, is being chunks or generating the purpose has been picked up from the multiple source. So that is how you really understand that your RAG has been working for a foundation model when you're testing it. So with that, I think your lab at the context of what has been given in your e-learning portal will stop. Okay. So for a word of caution, in case you're doing it today night before you come for the class, after you finish it, don't get your knowledge base running like this for a week or something. You will get into deep trouble. So I would recommend that you go and delete this knowledge base. Okay. Now, deletion of the knowledge base alone is not good enough. You will see that you'll also have to go and delete your OpenSearch service, which is also available here. You will see that there's an OpenSearch database which will be created here. You will have to also delete that OpenSearch data source so that you are not allowing it to, let me see where it is. Just give me a second. So just delete both these instance before you leave so that you're not trying to get this into a loop so that tomorrow when you come you will have this running. Is a quite a dangerous thing to do because I've seen that this pricing of this open search is too much for us to really digest and unnecessarily you'll come back with a cost. So these steps, I think it must be written down that you have to go to the Bedrock data source. Just I think you can delete it from here itself. You will find an option here called data source, right? So the knowledge base is deleted. Perfect. Okay. So you can scroll down to also see whether any data source is associated with it. If there is nothing, then it's okay. With that, you will be able to close this in a clean way. Okay.
So that's all for today. You just built the exact architecture that powers enterprise AI search engines. You have gone from raw data in an S3 bucket to a fully functional RAG system that can retrieve and generate specific answers. One quick heads up before you go, make sure that you delete your knowledge base and OpenSearch collection after you are done testing. Seriously, don't skip this step or you might wake up to a surprise bill from AWS. And also before you go, don't miss our free 90-minute masterclass where our experts reveal the exact 3-step framework helping our students land high-paying AI jobs. Register through the link in the description and pin comments. And also if you found this helpful, share it with someone who's also grinding to break into AI or level up their skills. And if you got any questions or doubts, drop them in the comments below. We read every single one of them and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.